Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent, and you're in the right place if you're here for the webinar, How to Beat a Discount Broker. Ever get beat out by a broker charging less? Eliminate this problem with a simple one-page document. All right, we're going to be getting started here in just a little bit. We're a little early, and congratulations for being here with me if you are. If you are in here so already, nice and early, go ahead and type in the city that you're in. Down there on the page somewhere, depending on which device you're on, there's going to be a box. It's going to look a little like this. It's going to say question and comment box. Go ahead and type in your city there at the bottom. When you press enter the first time, this second little diagram here with the login is going to pop open. And go ahead and type in your temporary name in number 2. Go ahead and just type your name in there, press go. And when you do that, you'll be in the chat box for the remainder of the webinar, and you won't have to do that again. But that'll tell me what city you're in and also get you all set up for answering some or for asking questions for Q&A, so I can answer those questions for you and get us off to a good start. So if you're here, go ahead and type in what city you're in and enter your temporary name. And we'll be getting started in about 10 minutes. I'm a little early, but I want to make sure I was here for everybody. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent. Welcome to the webinar, How to Beat a Discount Broker. Ever get beat out by a broker charging less? Eliminate this problem with a simple one-page document. All right, if you're here for the webinar, you're in the right place. We'll be getting started in about 7 minutes. If you're here already, go ahead and let me know where you're at. So there's a chat box on your page. It'll look a little bit like this down the bottom. Go ahead and enter your city where you're at. And when you type that in, go ahead and press the enter button. And number 2 will pop up. Go ahead and type in your name in the temporary spot where it says temporary name and press go. If you do that, you'll be in the chat and you won't have to do that again. You'll be ready to go and ask questions as we go along or respond to things as you see them. So go ahead and let me know what city you're in, and we'll be getting started here in just a few minutes. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent, and welcome to the webinar, How to Be the Discount Broker. Ever get beat out by a broker charging less? Eliminate this problem with a simple one-page document. We'll be getting started here in about 4 to 5 minutes, and I just want to make sure we got everybody in here and ready to roll. Let's see if you got a chat box, hopefully everybody's hearing me. If you got a chat box there somewhere on your page, go ahead in the bottom and enter the city that you're in, press enter, and when you do, another box will pop up and there number 2 there where it says temporary name. Go ahead and type your name in there and press go. Once you do that, you'll be in the chat box for the remainder of the webinar. You just have to do that once. Plus, you'll let me know where you're at. So this is pretty good stuff. Right now, it looks like we've got Ruby from San Gabriel, California. Welcome, Ruby. And we've got Mary from Miami. Welcome, Mary from sunny Miami. And we got Keith from Appleton. Keith, it's good to have you here. And going to be pretty excited here to get this started. We'll be starting in about 3 minutes. So you got a few minutes if you need them. Go ahead and get paper and pencil, maybe a drink of water. And we'll be starting up here in just a few as we get everybody in. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent, and you're in the right place if you're here for the webinar, How to Beat a Discount Broker. Ever get beat out by a broker charging less? Eliminate this problem with a simple one-page document. All right, we're going to be starting up in about 2 minutes here, so we're getting closer to the lunchtime. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're just getting in, and you haven't done this yet, go ahead and let me know what city you're in. So there's going to be a question and comment box on the page. It'll look a little bit like this. Down at the bottom, go ahead and type in the city that you're in and then press enter. When you do, the second box will pop up. It'll ask you to log in. You don't need to log in. Just go into number 2 with a temporary name. Just type in your name there and press go. When you do, you will be in the chat box so that you can ask questions and we can communicate back and forth as we go along. All right. We'll be getting started in about a minute. All right, hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent. You're in the right place if you're here for the webinar, How to Beat a Discount Broker. Ever get beat out by a broker charging less? Eliminate this problem with a simple one-page document. All right, so If you're just getting in here, this will be the last time we do this for those that have been with me for a bit. But here's what we're going to do. Go find that chat box, and in the bottom of the chat box, go ahead and type in the city that you're in. Press enter, and when you do, this second box will pop open. It says log in. You don't have to worry about that, but on line number 2, type in your name where it says temporary name and press go. When you do that, it'll put you into the chat box so that you can ask questions as we move along, as well as the Q&A at the end. This is a live event. We are doing this November 6th, 2017. It's a Monday. Excuse me, excited to get this going here. It's 11 o'clock in the morning my time. I am in the mountain zone. So let's see, if you're in the Eastern zone, it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And if you're Central, it's noon. And if you're on the Pacific, it is 10 in the morning. So welcome to all of you. And looks like we've got some folks signed in here. Let's see, we've got Ruby in San Gabriel, California. Welcome, Ruby. Oh, thank you, Mike. Well, thank you, Ruby. All right. And then we've got Mary. Hello from sunny Miami. Welcome, Mary. Keith from Appleton. We have Eric from Madison, Wisconsin. I hope I say this right. Janika from Fort Mills, South Carolina. Welcome. We have Paris. Oh, I'm not sure I said that right, actually. Paris. I don't think there's an R, and I'm pronouncing it. I apologize. You're from Toronto. Welcome. I've got an anonymous hello. That's what happens if you don't put in your name, then it just comes up for anonymous. I've got another person here from Rochester, Minnesota. Welcome. Tom from Peoria. I got Julianne. Welcome, Julianne. I've got Dan from Topeka, Kansas. Welcome, Dan. Corey from Sonoma County. Tom from Lancaster. Welcome, Tom. This is great. We're going to have a lot of fun. We got Chattanooga. And we've got 12 noon Eastern time. Oh, daylight savings. Yeah, make sure we moved our clocks around, right? All right, cool. So I'm excited to have you all here. Oh, and I got Broomfield and Denver right here in Colorado with me. That is fantastic. So welcome to the webinar, and I apologize I went on a little tangent there, but I like to have fun and see who's here. So this, again, is a live webinar, and it is November 6, 2017 at 11 a.m. Mountain. So let's get rocking. I'm going to start the recording, and here we go. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent, and welcome to the webinar, How to Beat a Discount Broker. Ever get beat out by a broker charging less? Eliminate this problem with a simple one-page document. All right, now this is going to be a deep dive, and it's going to be quick and to the point. We're going to be done in about 60 to 70 minutes, and there will be no replays. So please stay to the end. Now, I'm going to try to record it, but I need to let you know I don't know if it's going to work. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. So if you're live, you definitely will get all this information for sure. Now, if you have questions, go ahead and type them into that question box, that comment box, that chat box as you think of them. I will not be answering questions as we go. I'm not that talented, but I will have a full Q&A session at the end. So please type in your questions as you think of them as we go along. I tend to forget if I don't do that. If you're not writing them down on a piece of paper, at least you can type them into your chat box. You might have noticed there were already some folks that did a great job and wrote in some questions before the session began. So that's good. We'll be reviewing those as well as others. So as you think of them, write them in. Now, you're in the right place if you're a real estate agent who's tired of losing listings to discount brokers who give away their commission, work for free just to put a sign on the yard, then hurt the homeowner by selling the house for a discount price because they have no marketing plan or course of action. You want to show the homeowner that discount brokers are not putting more money in the seller's pocket, and that's the key, the bottom line. In fact, they're actually resulting in less dollars at the closing table, and you want to beat discount brokers before they hurt more sellers, take away your clients because they're offering these bizarre rates, and force you to lower your rate to compete for business, even with your friends and family. And that's what we've been noticing lately in these hot markets. Even your friends and family are being exposed to this and asking for discounts. So now you may notice here that, oh, and by the way, You want a tool to help you win against discount brokers while maintaining your full commission rate and offering the best service, okay? So if that's what you're looking for, you are in the right place. And I want to mention here before I forget what I'm doing. I'm going to be reading off a lot of these items as they pop up. If I don't do that, if you know me from the past, I kind of get into a tangent and we'll be here for 6 or 7 hours because I can't stop talking. So I'm going to stay on track by making sure I just read these items, as well as making sure that you get all the information in a concise time frame. So that's what's going on there. Here's what you're going to learn today. You're going to learn how to win against a discount broker by using facts and figures to show the truth about your competitor. Discount brokers rarely result in more money for the seller. And the reason is because they discount the price of the home too. They can't help it. They're discounters and they discount everything. All right, so how do you develop a simple one-page document that proves to the seller that you're the best choice over the discount broker? That's what we're going to go over. And what to say to the seller so they reject the discount broker, embrace you, and happily pay your full service commission, and even brag to their friends and family about why it was better to hire you over that discounter. Okay, now if you stay to the end, I have a free surprise for you, and this is my seller lead sheet. It's the seller lead sheet that I use to take seller, it's my seller intake form. It's what I use to take seller information down, find out the seller's motivation and timing, and it's what I use to set the appointments when I listed 21 homes in 30 days. So this is a fantastic form. You can take it, modify it slightly, and I bet it's going to fit right into your market and give you a single piece of paper that you can grab at any time and get all the information that you need from that seller and get that appointment set. Okay, so who is Mike Cerrone and why should I listen to him? So who am I? Well, I got people on the call that have heard me before. I got people on the call who have not. So just bear with me for a few minutes. I'll go through this and make it real quick. So I got my license 24 years ago, enjoyed jumping into real estate, real excited about it, was a young guy then, started slowly, sold 7 homes my first full year in the business, and my broker told me I was doing fantastic. I guess I was doing better than most of the people in the office, but I didn't feel very good because I was living in a little studio apartment, driving an old car, eating top ramen. I couldn't go out with my friends because I didn't have any money. I even had, this is kind of embarrassing, but I even had a newspaper route I would do early in the morning. You know, I was a 20-something-year-old person doing a newspaper route, and I was driving around in my car. My car would be loaded up with newspapers from the floorboards all the way to the ceiling, and I would drive around and throw newspapers out the window to try to earn enough money to stay in the business. So I didn't think I was doing very well, but my broker told me I was. I did finally figure out a few things, and I got up to 20 closings per year, and things got a little bit better. I did that, though, 3 years in a row. I kind of got stuck at that level. I caught into a plateau. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but it kind of stunk. I was stuck there. And I think it was because I was a little hard-headed. I don't know if you're hard-headed, but I certainly was. I figured I could do everything myself, and I didn't need to listen to anybody else. I was going to be my own man and figure this out. Well, 19 years ago, I heard about a 1-hour videotape of a top agent demonstrating his listing presentation, and I knew that if I focused on listings, I could stabilize my income because I'd been working with a lot of buyers, but I just didn't know how to do it. I heard about this tape, and I just wouldn't invest the money. I knew that if I could just watch this guy do his presentation, I could probably figure out some things, but it was so much money, I just bailed on it. I said, I can't do it. And so I didn't. And then every time I went out on a listing appointment, which wasn't that often, but when I did go out on them, I would typically bomb, surprise, surprise, and I wouldn't get the listing. And I'd try to figure out what happened. And then as I was trying to dissect what happened and what went wrong, and I was trying to figure out what to do right, I kept thinking about that top agent videotape, and I kept thinking, geez, if I just saw what the top agents were doing, maybe I could figure this out. But I was stubborn, and it took me a while. Well, 1 year later, I finally broke down and I invested the money and I got that tape. And it was amazing, right? So, by the way, this is old fashioned, so I had to wait for it to come by mail. So it took about 2 weeks to come in the mail. I ripped open the package and I couldn't wait to watch that thing. So that night I ran home and I slammed it into the tape and the tape into the VCR. And that's how old this was. It was an old VCR tape, but I watched it backwards and forwards. I kept rewinding it and watching it and rewinding it and watching it. Well, the next day I modified my listing presentation a little bit based on what I'd seen, and it was so amazing how easy it was to take that listing. It's funny how you listen to what these top people are doing and it just kind of goes in your mind subliminally. You know, it's like osmosis, and you start hearing yourself talking the same way they talk, and then you start getting the results that they get. Anyway, that was incredible. And so I spent a few more hours rewatching the video, tweaking my presentation. I just kept modeling those top agents, what he said and how he said it. I just tried to copy his presentation and mimic it for my own base and my own market. And everything went up from there. You know, that year I focused on listings and my production doubled. I'd been stuck at 20, and all of a sudden I didn't just go up, I doubled. I went from 20 to 41 closings that year. And then I continued to master my presentation because I figured that this is working. I'm going to keep doing this. And soon I was listing 5 to 10 homes per month. Now that was exciting. In my best month, I listed 21 homes in 30 days at 21 different kitchen tables. There were 21 different sellers. So this wasn't like I got a builder contract or REO with a bank. It wasn't anything like that. I didn't have a friend. I didn't have a cousin, Vinny, who had, you know, all these listings that he was working on. None of that. I had to go out and meet 21 different sellers, and it was a lot of fun. Well, my production jumped the next year to 95 closings. So I basically doubled again, and then went up to 113 closings in 1 year. So I was able to maintain that high level. Very exciting. I was listed in the top 300 agents in the nation by the National Association of Realtors magazine. And I thought I kept that magazine. I kept looking for it. I went back, but I couldn't find it. What I did find was online, they had this right here where it showed that top 300 agents that year. And I was listed as number 263, and I closed 113 units here in Lakewood, Colorado. So very, very exciting time. Anyway, it was pretty awesome. The only mistake I made, though, when I look back at it, was I waited that year to buy that tape and figure out what was going on. And I got, you know, I'm real frustrated when I think about losing that whole year and how things could have gone a lot faster. But I literally made 1,000 times my investment back over the next few years from that investment in the tape. And again, the key is not the tape. It doesn't matter what the unit is. It's the medium is. It's what I learned. It's what I learned was what the top agents were doing. And that's what I want to share with you. I just wish I wouldn't have lost that year by waiting. Then I realized this listing process is transferable. And that was like the next aha moment. You know, if I could learn it, so could others. And so I decided to hire a listing agent. I was getting super busy. All these listing appointments were happening. And I was, as I show you, I was keeping up 21 listing appointments by myself, but it was getting really, really wild. And I just said, you know what? I should get some leverage and hire a listing agent. But it was a very new concept at the time. Believe it or not, back then, it was very unusual. Just a couple top agents I'd heard about doing it nationally. Nobody in my area knew about what it was. And so I put out the offer for someone to do this. Nobody wanted to do it. Well, I finally found a young man, a young real estate agent. He was in his 20s. And his name was Jamie. And he'd had his license for just 6 months. He was just getting rolling. He'd only closed 2 buyer transactions and then never taken a listing. So, you know, it sounds like a perfect candidate to be a listing agent. But he was friendly. He was a very nice guy, and nobody else applied. So he became the candidate. The first month, I trained him a few hours per week, just whenever I could squeeze in a little bit of time. And that happened for the first 30 days or so. And he got a little restless. He was ready to go, right? So the second month, I said, you know what, just stick in there. Tell you what, I still don't have a lot of time, but why don't you go on a few solo listing appointments? Why don't you just take these reject leads, these leads I don't think that anything's going to happen with them. I'm going to focus on the serious ones. You take these secondary leads and at least if nothing else to give you some experience making a presentation. Well, amazingly, he started listing homes. He listed over half the appointments he went on, and this was in his second month. It was pretty incredible. He was just modeling the information that I had given him, and not very well, right? I hadn't given him a lot of training, and yet he still had amazing results. By his third month on the job, just the very next month, he listed 14 homes in 30 days and was earning a 10K per month. That was with no expenses, and in the way we had it rated out, I think it was maybe a 20% of the gross commission. He was doing a fantastic job and was super happy though, because he was bringing home 10,000 a month, making six figures. This was a few years back, and anyway, it was great for him. It was great for us. Everybody was winning. It was a lot of excitement. What I want you to pick up here, though, is by modeling what I'd learned from the top agents, he quickly ramped up to 14 listings in 30 days in his third month. So how did this work, right? It was modeling. Modeling is the key. I modeled the top agents and had success. Jamie modeled me and he had success. So I went on, people say, okay, Mike, well, what's the next part of the story? And so I'll just fill in that gap real quick. I went on to build real estate brokerages, mortgage brokerages, real estate investment companies. And now I sold and I'm semi-retired from real estate. It's been a lot of fun, but it gets boring sitting around. So I decided I got to do something else here. And I just have this love for real estate and real estate agents and what we do to help people. So today I interview the top agents in the nation for success calls. And many of you hopefully are part of that. And that's on the Mastermind Agent Network, where we go out and interview 2 top agents every month. It's a lot of fun. Occasionally, I host summits with top trainers as well as top agents. And I recently hosted the Listing Agent Summit, where 14 top agents demonstrated their listing presentations in detail. It was so kind of them to come on for 1 to 2 hours. They just gave everything that they had. They showed us their exact presentation scripts, handouts, exactly what they were doing to list 50, 100, 200 plus homes a year. It was pretty spectacular. And now I'm going to share some of the findings from that summit. So that I wanted you to know where this information is coming from. In fact, I want you to know these top agents really are top agents. Here's the 14 top agents that were at the Listing Agent Summit. We had Eric Hatch, who closed 508 homes worth 108 million in 1 year. Pretty amazing, right? Chantel Ray on track to do 1,300 homes sold in 1 year. Brian Macker, 235 homes worth 45 million in 1 year. Melinda Estridge, 120 homes worth 70 million in 1 year. Nate Martinez, 616 homes worth 68 million. We got Patrick Tuttle, 80 homes worth 15 million in 1 year. And Patrick also does property management, so he has a couple hundred homes under property management. You got Paul Wheeler, 248 homes worth 35 million. You got Judy Jackson, who's a listing specialist for a top team, and she listed 7 homes in 7 days. Just plug into those models and things happen fast. You got Shane White. You got 212 homes worth 36 million in 1 year. You got Steve Cohen, who did 106 homes worth 26 million. Great people here. You got Shar McCollum. You got 210 homes worth 35 million in 1 year. You got Bob McTagg, who also had his best year at 210 and did 32 million. You got Wayne Turner with 286 homes worth 51 million, and Denny Grimes, 400 homes worth 150 million. Isn't that amazing? I mean, these people are phenomenal, and they were willing to share how they're listing so many properties. And so after we did the summit, I kind of obsessed, just like I did when I first got that original videotape way back. And so I watched these 14 top agents demonstrate their presentations, and I watched them over and over and over again, because every time I watched, all this amazing information come out, just the little teeny things about the questions they ask, their closing questions, and the way they ask it, and the confidence in their voice. You know, it was amazing to see all the details that they had and their descriptions, and quite honestly, how simple their presentation is. You think it's this major complication. It's not. They're just hitting all the most important points. So I picked up stuff in the third viewing that I missed in the second, and vice versa. I was just adding all this information, and each top agent was sharing so much. I just couldn't get the first time, so I had to watch it a couple times. But I wanted to see the patterns that they had and mimic their best practices. And I actually ended up creating out of that this 39-page listing presentation template that I modeled after the common elements in the top agents presentations. That was the amazing part, is they really were following this process in this form, and they're scattered all over the place. And I don't know how they got their information initially. I assume from another top agent, but it was incredible to me that they actually follow the pattern. I'm going to show you in a minute the 10 steps. But so now I'd like to share a major lesson that I learned. I can't go through all of it, but I'm going to go through one of the major lessons that I learned. So here are the 10 steps to the listing process. This is the format that I saw that they were using. They didn't give me this, by the way. I watched all their presentations. I'm like, this is what they're doing. And then I watched again, and this is exactly how it fell out. So number one, they screen and set. So when the call comes in from the seller, they qualify for motivation and timing. They use certain scripts to make sure they get that information. And then if that person qualifies, they set the appointment. By the way, if that person doesn't qualify, they just stop, right? They either put them in some kind of follow-up if they're not motivated yet, or if there's a implement that they can't move forward, they just move on. They use the famous 4-letter word next and move on. But anyway, so that's actually a pretty critical one right there at the beginning. If that does look good, they set the appointment, they start moving through. So here we go. Number two, they do the pre-listing package they sent out, then they do the greet and tour. When they get there, they do a requalification right at the beginning to make sure they didn't miss anything. They establish their expertise to show that they are the professional. They go through their marketing plan. They identify the value of the home. They also show all the costs that are associated with the sale, so there's no surprises. They do that net sheet, and then they do closing and handling. So they close for the signature and handle any objections that may pop up, and they tell the seller what's going to happen next. So that's the 10-step process. And today we're going to focus on number 9. We're going to talk about close and handle objections, ask for signatures, and resolve. And actually, like a lot of these objections, the really smart agents, they handle it early in the process before you're actually sitting at the table trying to get the signature. Now, you may need it then, but they've kind of baked it into the process, and that's what you're going to see here. So let's talk about top agent Shar McCullum. She is a fantastic agent, a wealth of knowledge, and this is what she shared. So I have a question for you. Do you cringe when a seller asks you to reduce your commission to match a discount broker? If you're human, you do. I know I did. Anyways, Shar McCullum, she sold 210 homes in 1 year. She knows what she's doing. She's been doing this for a long time. And she was tired of dealing with this problem of these discount brokers popping in because she did not think that the premise was right. So she researched the true cost and reward of working with the biggest discount broker in her town, the one she kept running up against out there in listing presentations, right? You try to prepare as much as you can, but sometimes you just have to roll with it. And if you keep getting beat by the same person or the same brokerage over and over, then you need to create a way to handle that. And that's what she did. So she figured that if she compared the net results of that discount broker to her own results, that she would be further ahead. And the way that she got there, the real key, by the way, is the average list to sales price ratio. Or sales to list price ratio. I always say that backwards. There we go. She discovered that after you add up all the discount brokers' hidden fees and subtract out the lower average price because they're not good negotiators, that's why they're discounting in the first place, the seller actually earns more net profit with Shar, even though she has a higher commission rate. Okay, so that's the big picture of what she's doing. And she mapped it out on her own form, and she labeled it Debunking the Discount Broker Myth. What a great title, right? Debunking the Discount Broker Myth. And she reviews this document with the seller if they bring up any of these commission objections and this idea of working with a discount broker. And it immediately eliminates the discount broker from consideration because now they have the facts. And now Shar is going to win the listing. Now you can download this complete form inside the Summit. We've got Summit recordings, so you can see everything that she had, including this form. But here's what I want to do now. I actually want to break down this form and show you some of the information that's inside of it because I just think it's so awesome. Okay, so here we go. Here's the script that you use, right? So they bring up this problem of having a discount broker. Here's the script. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I can appreciate that you want to save money on the sale of your home. That makes sense. You believe that if you reduce your cost, you will end up with more money after the sale, correct? And they're going to say, yeah. Well, that's logical. However, reducing your cost does not always result in a higher profit because of hidden fees, surprise expenses, and bad negotiation skills. Can I show you why a discount broker might actually result in less money in your pocket? Let's take a look at this document. And then she's going to pull this out of her briefcase. It's already been prepared, and she's going to put it down and start walking through it. So let's look at this document that she has. So first, you need to define what a discount broker is to the seller. You're going to walk through this with them, that this discount broker is someone who reduces their commission to try to attract sellers, and they will take less for their work. But as most people, when they get paid less, they do less, and it's going to result in a lower quality result than what this seller really wants. She's now going to take actual numbers from one of the most popular discount brokers in her area. This is in Kansas City. So now she's going to go on to compare the true costs. So you're going to show the real numbers in black and white and the true cost of using your service versus the discount broker. So to the right is a snapshot of the comparison of Shar versus the discount broker. And it's based on a sales price. This is a low sales price. But remember, she's out there in Kansas City. The sales price, $85,000. And notice how specific it is. It's $373.89. I mean, it's a real home in her market. Now, she shows the difference in net profit, which basically is how much money the seller will walk out of closing with. And she adds up the cost of the discount broker, including items like flat listing fee, broker fee, buyer agent commission, listing commission. You know, there's a lot of junk fees that are added in there, and I'll tell you where to find those in a minute. Plus the cost, which is the big one, of the lower LTS, the listing to sales price ratio. When you start at 100,000, where do you actually end up once the negotiation is over? Do you end up at 99,000 or do you end up at 81,000? That's what it's showing, is how good or how bad was that agent in negotiating that price. Then she adds up the cost of using Shar so she can have a pure, true comparison. And this reveals the true cost of the discount broker is actually higher than using Shar, the traditional agent. Notice how she's going to show that in dollars. If you're looking over there to the right, dollars and not percentages, right? So she comes down to that bottom line number that's circled in red. It's the dollars that this seller is going to lose by picking the discount broker over Shar's team. So it's pretty ingenious. It's very simple. It's easy to understand. And as soon as you walk through and explain what that LTS is, the sellers get it. Now, how do you do this? First of all, you got to do some research in order to make this work. You got to jump into the MLS, and you need two pieces of information, right? You need your average list to sales price ratio, that LTS, and you need your discount broker's average list to sales price ratio. So you're going to compare yourself to the discount broker on the LTS. Now, most MLS systems already have the search option in their program now. So you're going to do a summary search for listings sold in, say, the last year, so say the last 12 months by you, and then also going to look for the LTS in those results. So by the way, if you don't have a 12-month history, just use what you have. So if you've only been doing this for 6 months or only in a certain area for 6 months, use the 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is, just make sure you're comparing apples to apples, you and the discount broker. Now, if you're brand new, you can use your office stats. You just need to disclose that that's what you did, okay? Now do the same for the same search for the discount broker so that you can compare. With this information, you can now fill out the chart. So note, often this search will give the average days on the market, which I think is super valuable as well. It's what I used to use in this process. So look for that number, the DOM, the days on the market, because you're probably selling homes faster than that discount broker, which is more savings in time and money for the seller. And I recommend you brag about it. So for instance, if your average time on the market is 15 days and their average is 47 days, well, you are 32 days faster. That's another mortgage payment. And I would point that out. You're saving them money there. Plus the stress of hanging out because they're not getting the home sold quickly because they don't have good marketing. Now, We're going to continue down Char's form here, and she also goes into defining this discount broker and how the comparison is, right? So she writes out an explanation of the numbers and calculations in words. I think this is really smart. So if you're a numbers person, let me go back up there. You like this chart over here on the right? If you're a numbers person and you're listening, you're like, yeah, that looks cool. I understand that really easily. But if you're not a numbers person, she's going to go on and make sure you understand too. She's going to throw this up right here on the right where you're seeing the numbers, but you're also getting an explanation. It's more text, it's more explanation. People that don't like numbers are going to be much more comfortable reading this. And that's why you should do it in these two formats. Okay, so you want to outline it in a simple format that's easy for that seller to consume. Now, notice at the bottom how Shar points out to the seller that they will need to pay the discount broker even if the broker does not perform and fails to sell the home. So this form is loaded with these value bombs. If you dig into this thing, it's pretty incredible. Now it shows that the discount broker gets paid the listing fee twice or maybe even 3 times if the listing expires and needs to be relisted. So a lot of these discount brokers will do a short term, like a 30-day or 60-day, and the seller originally thinks that's smart, but the problem is then they got to start paying these fees over and over again. These fees really add up. So there's an incentive for a short-term listing period and for that agent to kind of drag it out a little bit. They win either way, right? So you want to point out why you're better than your competition, your points of difference, and this form does a great job of doing it. You're also going to then show your rate, right? We outlined the discount broker. Now let's outline what we're doing. So Char's going to show exactly her fee and how she will share it with the co-op agent. Notice that she mentions she will not be paid if the home does not sell because we're working towards the same goal. Okay, so I think that's valuable and important as well. Now, you also want to quote your sources. Yeah, you want to be straight up with this, that you're comparing apples to apples, and you want to show the seller exactly how you compared you to the discount broker and what guidelines you were using. And so you're going to have a disclosure somewhere on your page, and that's what she has here at the bottom. Char defines the terms like the LTS, because what is that if you don't understand that that's listing to sales price ratio, and disclosures of exactly how she got her numbers. What was the time frame? Did she do it her whole market? Did she just do it in one neighborhood that they specialize in, and that's where this property is? What was the parameters used? Just list it out. I also recommend you write in that MLS, by the way. She mentions each broker's LTS and sample home price she used for the calculation, and there we go. I recommend you use that MLS, especially if you have multiple MLSs in your market, so that they know what's going on. And then you spell out the time frame that you used. What dates? Like in this example, it was January 1 through June 30, so just 6 months in 2017. That was the time frame that you used. It builds trust when your numbers are accurate, when you're doing full disclosure, and people are transparent. That's what you want, and that's what your sellers want as well. So how do you find out what the discount fees are? Well, you're going to do some research, and you're going to list, you want to list out the big discount brokers in your area. Is there just one that you keep bumping into? Are there 3 of them? There's not going to be that many. Just find the few that you either keep bumping into or the biggest in your market. Then you want to go to their website and you want to do a little research. You want to do some reading. And most post their exact pricing plans online because this is their marketing. That's how they feel they're attracting sellers to them. And if the sellers don't know enough information, it does look better. I mean, you could see it from a seller's perspective. If you thought you were going to buy an airplane ticket to fly from where you're at right now to Honolulu, and you've got one that says $1,000 and the other says $810, you're probably going to pick the $810 if you think they're exactly identical. Now, maybe the 810 has 6 stops before it gets to its destination and takes a day and a half to get there. That's in the small print, right? So we want to find out what's the discount broker's small print. Be sure to read the fine print. And where you're going to find that is usually the disclosures at the bottom because they need to disclose this information. So you'll find all that hidden fee information down there in the little mice print, that little teeny print down there. That's where you want to look. You might even make a copy of it, right, for your records or even to put on your form. All right, what if I have more than one discounter? And we kind of addressed this a minute ago, but the answer is just make one document for each discounter. There's not going to be that many in your market, and there certainly won't be that many that you keep bumping into. That's who you want to focus on. Just research the ones in your area that you typically compete against. And again, it's probably one, two, maybe three of them. And once you get this form set up, you're ready to go. All right, then you have a few of these flyers in your briefcase ready to pull out and show the seller if you bump into this objection. So discount brokers, beware. Now you're ready to beat the discount broker because you're armed with facts and figures and you're sure to win the race. So the seller will appreciate your full service and marketing plan. You're about to win more listings at your full commission rate in this hyper competitive market and sell more homes for more sellers and great prices at a higher profit. So discount brokers, beware. We now have a way to fight against what you got there. Now, I'm not sure why you showed up today. It could be you want to know how to beat a discount broker with logic and a simple one-page document. It could be you want to improve your listing presentation so you sign more sellers and beat out other agents in this hyper-competitive market without discounting your commission and while earning your full fee. It could be you want to gain the confidence of knowing that you have an awesome presentation so that you start attracting sellers to you. And it could be you want to learn how the top agents list and sell hundreds of homes each year, and you want to do it too. Well, if there's one thing to take away from today, it's that I've cracked the code for modeling the top agent listing presentations and duplicating their results. It has literally changed my world, the world of my new listing agent, and the world of my students. And it's very much a replicatable system that you can apply to your real estate practice. And you can finally have a consistent, dependable monthly income stream and the freedom to enjoy it. So the obvious question is, how do you apply this code, this system, this model of the top agent listing presentations to your business and create a consistent monthly income? Well, like most things, you have a choice. You can do it slowly using trial and error, kind of like what I was doing early years, taking some of what I shared today, or you can do it quickly using the models in the Listing Agent Summit Recordings training program. So when in doubt, bring in Einstein. And he said that everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. So what is the Listing Agent Summit Recordings? At the summit, 14 top agents demonstrate their listing presentation as we watched over their shoulders and onto their computer screens. And you can see and download their real-life listing presentation documents, hear and mimic their words and scripts, and model their best practices. And it was all recorded on video. Now, this is absolutely the fastest way to get from point A to point B. You know, you can get to your goal slowly in this rickety old machine. I don't know what that is. Or you can get there quickly in this hot red Ferrari. So here's what you'll get inside the summit recordings. You get videos. You get 14 training videos of the top agents demonstrating their exact listing presentation in detail. This is gold. I so wish this would have been around when I first got started. It took me 5 years, and in the entire time of my career, I only saw this once, but you get it. You could see it 14 times and see which of these agents is like you and that you want to start mimicking. Or pick up a little from each. You also get samples and handouts. You get dozens of downloadable samples and handouts so you can see their entire listing system from start to finish. It includes seller lead sheets. You know, that's that first contact when they first call in. Appointment setting scripts, how you should talk to them to nail down that appointment. You give them alternative closes as an example. The pre-listing packages, what do you send out to them before you go over there? What should be in there? What should you not put in there? You got listing presentations with full marketing plans. You're going to be amazed at how simple the marketing plan is for these agents, although how nice it looks. You got pricing charts and graphs. Why should they make sure they don't overprice their home? How do they make sure they don't underprice their home? What's happening in your market? How do you make sure that you hit the target of that goal, that successful goal that you want of getting this home sold on time? You got forms and checklists to make sure that you're following along, collecting all the correct information, and you're following a system to get you to the end of the transaction smoothly. And seller handouts. What do you give them at the end so they're prepared for the next step? It's like preparing the home for photos or a quick checklist for how to do a quick showing. If they have to get out of the house in 10 minutes, what are the most important things that they should do? Those type of things are in there as well. Now, it comes down to a simple idea. If you want to list more homes like the top agents do, then just model the top agent listing presentations. Just do what they do and you'll get what they get. It's that simple. You're going to get the same results if you do what they do like they're doing it. It I can't describe this enough. It's why I went through that little story. It worked for me. It worked for my listing agent, and it's going to work for you. It's the principles. It's not the people. It's the principles of what you're presenting and how you're presenting it that make it work. So how much will this cost me? That's a question I often get. Well, 19 years ago, I wanted to see inside the listing presentation of one top agent who is listing and selling 200 homes per year. Pretty exciting. And I want to be just like him. So after 1 year of procrastinating, I finally broke down and I got the 1 hour videotape. And I got to see his materials, listen to how he presented, and understand his philosophy. Was it worth it? Absolutely. I watched the video, I made it my own, and so quickly after I just did a little bit of practice, I went out and started taking listings, lots and lots of listings. So I started listing 5 to 10 homes per month. How fast can you ramp up? In my best month, I listed 21 homes in 30 days. You're saying, Mike, why are you telling me the story again? I'm telling you because I want you to have this story. I want you to be telling me that you just had this story. I want you to take 5 or 10 listings a month. I want you to go out and take 21 homes in one month and have your best month ever. I just modeled the top agents and it worked. And then I made my investment back with my first listing when it closed, right? And then I literally made 1,000 times my investment over and over in the next few years. I would never trade that experience. I only wish I wouldn't have procrastinated for that year and lost that year. I would have been earning that much faster. And then again, it's duplicatable. I want you to understand this is not rocket science. Anybody can do this. So I want to expand with this listing agent. So I hired a new agent who only had his license for 6 months, and he'd only closed 2 buyer transactions, never even took a listing. And by the second month, he was working my reject leads and taking listings. And by his third month, he listed 14 homes in 30 days. I have this guy who hadn't even been in the business less than a year and never taken a listing within 3 months. And I was really slowly teaching him. It's the third month, he lists 14 homes in 30 days. What could you do with your experience and your knowledge base? Now, these concepts, they are transferable, and that's what I'm trying to get across. Anyone can learn how to do it. So modeling the successful agents is the key, right? So model successful agents, model successful systems. I modeled the top agents and quickly became a success. Then my new listing agent modeled me and ramped up fast. Now you can model the top agents and start listing homes. So what's the value? That 1 hour VCR videotape that I purchased with it was just one top agent. It was maybe about an hour long, and it basically cost me $1,000 in today's money, right? Well, this summit, there are 14 top agents demonstrating their exact listing presentations and sharing their handouts. Amazing. So if you just take the 14 times, it should be $14,000, which is a crazy amount of money, I know, but it would be worth it if you think about it, because a couple closings, they'd be paid for, and every listing after that, would be pure profit. But you don't have to pay $14,000, not even $10,000. You don't have to pay $5,000 for this. Now, what I should have done, and what a lot of people told me to do, was to charge $2,000. I've seen programs out there charging that, but this, no, I'm not going to do that either. I'm going to give you the entire summit recordings for only one payment of $997 today. That's it. One payment, $997. You get all 14 of the top agents. Now, I had some people say, Mike, is there, I like this. I want to do it. Is there any way that you could break this out into some payments for me? And so I thought, what's the best I could do? And here's what I came up with. You could also do this whole thing for 12 monthly payments of $97 a month. That way you can get up and running. You can start taking those listings, especially this time of year. You can start taking those listings, and you can pay for this thing over the next year. But believe me, it's going to happen fast. Webinar only special, though. I'm only doing those payments today. Okay, and yes, I get this question too. you're going to get the whole thing right now. I'm not going to drip it out. You're not going to get like the first presentation now and the next presentation in a month and the next presentation after that. Nope, you're going to see all 14 presentations immediately. Now, you'll also get 3 fast action bonuses, because I know this time of year, you're kind of saying, geez, what do I do? I want you to jump in and take action, learn these listing presentations right now so that you can master. By the way, you could pick up listings right here at the end of the year. I always loved fourth quarter. I always did phenomenal in fourth quarter. You can pick up these listings right now in the fourth quarter for people that have to sell by the end of the year. They're out there and they need some help. And then you also are preparing for listing leads this time of year for people who really are going to jump on it right at the beginning of the year. In January and February, they're going to jump into the market. And you're even picking up those that are springtime sellers for March and April. So I want you to take action now, though, and get this information in your head while you might have a little bit of time and get prepped. So I call these student-driven bonuses, as they were all designed at the request of the Summit students to make this training even more easy and simple. Remember Einstein? Well, fast action bonus number 1, you take action today. Here you go. You get the seller lead sheet template. Now, I modeled this template on the top agent systems. I saw what they were doing. I took the questions that they were asking, the information that they requested and needed, and put it into a one-page form. You get this in Word, so you can modify it to your market, and you can also just use it right out of the box because it's ready to go. Now, you're going to use this to quickly determine that seller's motivation, their timing, see if they're qualified, if you're going to jump on it right now and set an appointment, or if you're going to wait. That's what this form is for. So set appointments with the best leads. That's the purpose of this form. Now, fast action bonus number 2 is the listing presentation template. I am so proud of this. I'm so excited about this. What I basically did was I went in and I modeled the top agents, all 14 of those presentations. I looked for common elements of those presentations and I pulled them out and I put them into one place, into this 39-page fill in the blank template that's done in both Word and PowerPoint. So it's Word if you like to print it out and have it, I used to have it like it in a spiral and you kind of zip the pages along for people. You also have the PowerPoint. You want to do it on the computer and slip the screens along, you can do that too. They're in both designs. Now, all you have to do is enter your name, photo, phone, email, a couple little pieces of information, and this thing is ready to go. And within, it says 24 hours, within like an hour, you'll be ready to start listing like the pros. You'll have your own listing presentation ready to rock. Okay? Now, fast action bonus number 3, I got this request all the time, so I just broke down, I did it. My listing presentation that I used to list 21 homes in 30 days, I actually walk you through the actual presentation that I made so that you could see it. So here it is. I demonstrate my exact listing presentation. You can download the presentation to see all the slides. You can see my marketing plan, my price bracket strategy, and how I close the listing at my full commission rate. Now, I don't want to go past this. I have the price bracket strategy. I haven't seen any other agent do it the way I used to do it. It was phenomenal and incredibly successful for me. I got to tell you, to get the seller to price right. Now, other agents do something similar. I was glad to see that, but I kind of had this unique way of doing it. And what would happen is, it's a way when you get into that CMA and the presentation and the seller is pushing for a higher price, is typically what you'd see. I was able to show them price brackets. And as long as they picked inside that price bracket, I knew we were going to be okay. And what it does is it not only sets up the right price to start, it automatically sets up price reductions. If they're going to push the price a little bit, you have a reason and a justification to right there at the listing, right into the additional provisions that the price is going to be reduced at certain time intervals to come down. It's really awesome. You can see how I'm using my hands right now. You can't see that, but I'm showing my hands, a high and low, this price bracket. It's what I did the presentation. And that's what really made this thing fly. So you'll be able to get that. Now, you're on this webinar. Thank you for joining me. I have a webinar only bonus because I kept getting this question. People said, Mike, I love the idea of having a perfect listing presentation. That makes so much sense. I can convert people. But Mike, how do I get more sellers to talk to? How do I get seller leads? First, I need to tell you what I believe, and that is that if you have an awesome presentation, you will go out and find sellers. They start to get attracted to you like a magnet. I know it sounds weird, but I'm just telling you, that's what happened for me. And I think it was because I would self-sabotage. I would go out before I had a good presentation. I wasn't comfortable with it. And I was kind of scared to have a seller look at it. And I think I wouldn't be very confident when I talk to sellers, right? Can I come over to your home to show you how I sell property? Yeah, I wasn't confident. And once I got my listing presentation down, I want to tell everybody, like, this is great. Come on over. I got to show you what I got. I'm going to show you how I'm going to get your home sold. All right, well, that's what I believe, but I'm going to go one step beyond that, and that is this. I'm going to give you a copy of the Agent Lead Generation Summit recordings. We did this a few years ago. It was phenomenal. The top agents came in. I think we had 17 top agents came in, and they described exactly how they get leads, right? So 17 top agents answered this question in detail. What is your number one best lead generation method in today's market? As you can see on the left there, these are really high-performing agents. They know exactly what they're doing. So you get to look over their shoulder and onto their computer screen as they walk you through exactly what they're doing. Examples were Facebook ads for sellers. Facebook ads for sellers, and they were really low cost. I'm trying to remember, something like $5 or $10 a piece. That she's going to walk you through that. You got geographic farming, which is, believe it or not, is really still huge for a lot of agents. They're doing incredible volume and consistent. So go through that and examples of the mail outs that are being used that you can just model. It was really amazing how much they shared. And then the past clients, which everybody should be doing, because top agents, 50% of their business is past clients and sphere of influence. So you should be looking at past clients, sphere of influence, and the referral program. That's kind of in there. And there are a bunch of agents that talked about that. You got internet leads if you like going that direction. You got pay-per-click, SEO, IDX. You got phone prospecting. If you're willing to pick up that phone and make a couple calls, there's amazing ROI that you can get on that. Even open houses, mega open houses, things like that are talked about in there where you can bring people to you. So whatever your personality is, there's a way to get more leads in. And you get this for free as a bonus when you buy the Listing Agent Summit recording. So you also, when you invest, you have my personal 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not happy for any reason, you get a full refund. Just send me an email, and I'll send all your funds back to you. There's no problem. That's what we do. And then here's what you need to do now. Click the big red button under this screen that looks like this. I want the Listing Agent Summit recordings. Just click that. And when you do, what's going to happen next is you'll see this page where you can enter your info. Just walk right down through there, enter all your information. At the bottom, you get to pick whether you want the 1 pay or the 12 pay. Either one is great. Go ahead and pick one of those. And then click the green button at the bottom of the page to place your order. And yep, it looks just like that. And then you're going to be taken here where you're going to receive an email. So you'll end up on this screen, which is how you access the material. And then an email is going to come to you within about 15 minutes, probably less. But within 15 minutes, you'll get an email with your username and password. And you go ahead and just plug it in there, and you're into the system. Inside with full access to everything, all the videos, all the handouts, all of it's going to be there, including all the fast action bonuses and the webinar bonus. They're already preloaded in there so you can access them right away. Again, I don't drip it out there. It's already there. I want you to jump right in, go to what you want to learn about, and get that material right now. Maybe you have a listing appointment tomorrow or later in the week and you want some tips. Jump right in. Okay, well, it all starts with taking action. You know, you can do this slowly using trial and error, taking some of what I shared today, or you can do it quickly and model the 14 top agents inside the Listing Agent Summit recordings. So here's what to do now. Click that red button on this page and get immediate access to the Listing Agent Summit recordings, where you're going to see the 14 videos of top agents. And by the way, these 14 videos are amazing. I didn't mention this earlier. I'm just going to make it real quick. They went from like 45 minutes to 2 hours plus. Some of these folks talk really fast like me, and some of them talk a little slower. A lot of them, they have different personalities, right? So some of them did a role play with me through most of it, and some of them would talk about their process and then go into maybe a little bit of role play. And then some of them would do more of a combination where they would do role play and then they would step out and tell you why they did it that way, and then step back in and do some more role play, etc., all the way through. Really incredible. You get to see a lot of different personalities and how they're doing this, and you can find the one that matches you. You get to download dozens of samples such as pre-listing package, presentations, marketing plans, really checklists, incredible stuff. Fast action bonus number 1, seller lead sheet template in Word. You get that so you can modify it. You get the fast action bonus number 2, listing presentation template. So proud of this. With the Word and PowerPoint, you can jump right in and you can have your own presentation. Very fast. Fast action bonus number 3 is my listing presentation I used to list 21 homes in 30 days. You can see how I did it, including the price bracket technology. And then you've got the webinar only bonus, the lead generation summit recording, so you can figure out how to get even more sellers into your pipeline and out there, so you're sitting belly to belly with them at their tables, right? You get lifetime access and a 30-day money back guarantee, and plus you get the option of either 1 pay or 12 pay. So go ahead and take some action, and I highly recommend you get on this. We're going to now go into the Q&A. I'm sure there are a lot of questions. I'm excited to answer those. So if you have any questions, type them into the question box, that comment box at the bottom. Type in your question at the bottom, press enter. If you haven't done so, you'll need to put in your temporary name on line number 2. Just type in your name and press go. If you've already put in your name, you just have to type the question each time, and it'll be there, your question or comment. Excuse me. Woo, I got to get a little drink of water there. So I'll wait while you type in some questions. Excuse me. I get so excited. I can't wait for all of you guys to rock this thing. So here's what to do now. Go ahead, and I'll leave this up while we're answering questions. So I'm now going to switch gears. And I'm going to go back up. Again, please type in your questions, and we'll get to them. So I have the first question. Excuse me. Wow. I have a listing assistant. Very good. It says anonymous, so I don't know our name here. But I have a listing assistant. She helps arrange for all the things needed to get a home ready for sale. Awesome. Awesome. Sounds like a listing coordinator, and she wants to start going on listing appointments with me. So I assume she's licensed, and for some online leads. Fantastic. Is this a good idea? What is the best way for her to be successful at closing online sellers? The question of what is my home worth leads for an appointment? Wow. So there's a lot in there. Let's kind of break that down. The first thing you asked is, should you allow your listing assistant to go out and take listings? And that's a decision you have to make. My answer is, if you are so busy that you can't keep up with it and things are falling off the table, or you're so busy you can't get a breath of air and you want to get some help, then yeah, I recommend that you do that. Now, if you're not busy, if you're not, for whatever reason, you're only taking 1 listing a month or 2 listings a month, you can go ahead and train her for the future if you want, or maybe for when you're on vacation. That's not a bad idea, by the way, some cross training. But the listings are the most profitable place in your business, the least amount of your time required to make the biggest money. I highly recommend you stay in listing production as long as you can and earn all those big dollars, put them in the savings, build your company, build your team. It's super productive. And that's what I've seen a lot of the top agents do as well. It's one of the last things they give up because it's so profitable. But if you are getting really busy, or you think this is a great person, you might lose them. There's a lot of different reasons. If you decide that you want to bring her on to do this, that's great. Just a couple other things. Make sure that you do a good job training her, okay? And one of the greatest ways to do that, by the way, is a shadow program where she comes and sits next to you and watches what you're doing. And I did this with Jamie. You just keep your mouth shut. You tell them before you go in, keep your mouth shut. Do not say anything. Just watch what I do. And the sellers will ask them something. They just got to go, yeah. Okay. And sometimes they'll even say, well, Mike told me not to say anything. but if they just sit there and watch, it's just like watching those videos, right? That's the benefit. Now you got the videos, but they get to watch what you're doing and how you're saying and how you're reacting, and they will learn really fast how to take a listing. So that's something you can do with her, which I recommend you do early. Before you even get there, though, make sure that your agreement specifies how you're going to compensate them and what they're going to do. Make sure that's really clear. And I'm going to give you all a big warning right now. If you bring in a listing specialist, you do not pay them as much as a buyer specialist. That's my opinion. It's usually half the amount, maybe less. The biggest problem I see is you overpay, and then your listing specialist is making 250, 300,000 a year, and you're barely scraping by or breaking even. You are not going to be happy. They're going to feel your stress. You're going to be upset, and it's all because you tried to pay too much at the beginning. So I know this sounds crazy, but some of the top agents I know are paying 10%, 15, 20%, 25% as a listing specialist, and that 25% is starting to get high. Because you got to run your numbers. You got to make this thing profitable. They're not going to be putting in as much time on the seller side as they would on the buyer side, so you don't have to pay them as much. That's my biggest advice there, and I hope you're all listening and you got that. Boy, this is a really great question. It's loaded, huh? So we talked about that part of the question. Is this best way for, what's the best way? Well, the best way to close any seller lead, it doesn't really matter the source, okay? What matters is how you deal with that seller once they get into your system. So the first thing is you have to have a conversation with them, and you have to qualify them, and that's why you want to use the seller lead sheet, right? Use that seller lead sheet template, and you're going to walk through the questions that need to be asked to identify their motivation and timing. Now, once you find out their motivation and timing, now you can decide, am I going to move forward with the seller or not? If I'm moving forward with the seller, I'm going to set my appointment and I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to get them signed as soon as I can. I'm not going to wait. Even if they want to delay a couple weeks to prepare their house or something, I want to get it signed right now. I don't want to wait. I don't want anybody else to get in there. I've already found a great seller. I want to go talk to them. I want them to work with me because I'm going to do the best job for them better than anybody else. I know that. I feel that. They're going to get the best deal with me, period. As far as marketing time, net profit, walking out of the closing, everything's going to be better. It's going to be a smoother transaction, and I want them to work with me. So you got to have that attitude. You hear that in my voice? I want you to have that. If you don't already have it, I hope you do, but if you don't, you got to have that confidence, because that's what's going to come through in all your conversations, and these things become easy once you get the confidence, because people can hear it and they can pick up on it. Okay, so you're going to show her how to qualify. By the way, do like what I did. Use your lower quality leads with her to get trained. Then if she makes a mistake, which she will, it's not a big deal, because it wasn't your hottest $3 million listing, right? I mean, it was your $30,000 listing or something, right? So go ahead and qualify leads before you hand them to her. And then make sure you go through the form and set the appointment. Just set the appointment like any seller. It doesn't matter. You mentioned online leads. It doesn't matter how the seller got into your system. If now they're a seller, you got to find out what their timing is. If they're ready to go now, go talk to them. If they're not ready for a year for some reason, they're just getting information, cut the time in half, call them in 6 months. Okay, make sure you have a follow-up system, a contact management system. All right, so that was a loaded one. I hope I answered your question. I'm going to move on to the next one. Thank you so much. And if you have questions, please type them in to the bottom there. All right, so I've got one, and I don't know if it was mistyped or if I'm pronouncing this right, but I think it's Prayful was the person who asked the question. And they said, the seller said, I'm going to get X for my home in this market. And then the seller said, why should I pay you? Why should I pay more to you than the other agent who's going to charge me half of what you charge? Well, half. Well, what are they going to do for half? I mean, the business. Are they even going to be able to pay a co-op, or they working for free? Or what are they going to actually do? What's the trick? What's the hidden charge? Nobody works for free. Come on. So first of all, you could just tell the seller that here's how our business works, and here's what has to get paid out to an agent bringing us a buyer. So how is that agent going to work for free? If you went to work tomorrow and your boss said you have to work for free for the next week, what kind of work would you do for him? Anyway, you could use a lot of different approaches, but the big one is logic. What is this agent going to do for nothing? Because it's not half. It's nothing, because they're going to have to pay a buyer agent, right? So I think this one's actually easy when they go that low. And the second part of that, though, is that the seller was assuming, I'm going to get X for my home in this market. No, they're not. We don't know what they're going to actually get. We can estimate based on their other homes in their area and comps and so forth, but we don't know what the final number is going to be. And that's, by the way, where that list to sales price ratio comes in. You can show them the proof that other agents don't get as high of a list to sales price ratio as you do, right? So you dig into that and show them there's a differential. I used to have that, and you'll see if you get my listing presentation, I actually have it in there where I show a comparison between me and the other agents in the market. I just did an average MLS compared to me, and it changed every year, but it was dramatic. Some years it would be 1% or 1.3. Get real specific, by the way, to the decimal. Some years it'd be 2 or 3% difference. Huge. And then once you start adding in faster sales, days on market, and other information, believe me, they're going to come out way ahead, not only in the bottom line, but in the smoothness of the transaction. And those are all the things you want to talk about. And in fact, I got to tell you, I'm missing the most important thing, and I apologize. The best thing to do with the seller is identify where they want to go and when they want to be there. And then you keep asking them, are you sure that you want to, I'm just going to make something up. Are you sure you want to get to Memphis in the next 32 days? Is that when you need to get there? Then I think you need a professional, don't you? Are you sure that you need to get to Memphis? Why do you want to get to Memphis again? You just ask them that question. It was job transfer, kids are there, want to be there before Christmas. Whatever their reason is, make them live there. That's their motivation. That's their goal. And then your job is to help them achieve that, right? But make them live there in what their goal is. I want to get this home sold so I can move closer to my kids. I want to get my home sold so I can move by my parents. I want to get my home sold so I can help my grandparents. I want to get my home sold so I can be next to my church. Whatever their reasoning is, you need to talk to them about what that is. And that's going to be their motivation. And by the way, just by tapping into that, they're going to immediately identify you're someone who cares and someone they want to work with, right? Okay, so I should have started there. That is the most important thing, is what is the seller trying to accomplish, and show them how you're going to help them do that. And then you put doubt in there about whether the discount broker can do it. Do we know whether the discount broker will do it or not? We don't know. All we know for sure is how hard we will work and what we will do. And based on the information we could see what that discount broker won't be doing and what we will be doing. And we're going to show those comparisons. And believe me, even if there is a difference in dollars, people would rather go with a smoother transaction. Wouldn't you? Just think about it, wouldn't you? This is a massive investment. Who wants the ugly stress that can come by working with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing? All right, well, let's keep moving. Let me see if I've got other questions. By the way, those were awesome. Moving down the list. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to get down to the questions here. Mind numbing, please get. Okay, well, I guess I went off on too many tangents. I hope you guys got a lot of good core information. You said you were going to give us the seller lead sheet. Yep, I'm going to give that to you in just a second. Sorry, hold on. And seller lead sheet, seller lead sheet. Wow, so I don't have any other questions. Let me just do a refresh and make sure I'm not missing something. This is going to be easy on me. I don't see any other questions. So thank you so much for hanging out with me to the end. Let me show you. I promised you a free surprise. If you stay to the end, you're going to get a copy of my seller lead sheet. This is the seller intake form that I use to find seller motivation and timing and set the appointments when I listed 21 homes in 30 days. And to get this, what I need you to do is open up a different internet browser window, okay, and then type this in: www.mastermindagent.com/lead sheet. www.mastermindagent.com/lead sheet. One final time: www.mastermindagent.com/lead sheet. If you do that, you're going to go right to the download page, and you're going to be able to pick up that free gift. So I really enjoyed this today. I hope you enjoyed being with me today. And I hope that you go out there and master listings, become a listing agent, specialize in listings. It's where the money's at. It's where the control is. And it's where you should be as well. So I hope you had a good time today. I did. And I hope you all have a great afternoon, very productive day. Take care.